Pops picked the place up for $1,500 back in 1964. My grandfather.
Good evening, YouTube. I'm going to be showing you how to fix a 99 through 2004 Mustang rear seat headrest. For those of you that have these 2000 or 99 through 2004 Mustangs know how cheesy and cheap the interior is. So you've probably encountered many times where you're finding different interior panels that are broken or don't align right, so on and so forth. What we're going to be doing today is plastic welding these tabs back onto this headrest. The tab that is on the passenger side of the car has completely broken off, and the tab on the driver's side of the car has the insert completely missing. Fortunately, we do have all of the parts for this as far as the plastic pieces that are gone, so that's what I'm going to use to plastic weld back together. But if these are completely gone, what you guys can use is new pieces of plastic. Cut out a piece that looks to be the right size. You can drill your holes, so on and so forth with this, and kind of get creative with it. One thing that you'll always want to look for is the type of plastic that you're welding on. A lot of these will have a stamp. I'll get into a video where it kind of explains that a little bit further, but just know that you want to make sure that you're using the correct type of plastic when you're welding it back together. So what I'm going to start off by doing is taking this insert that's broken out of the right hand side, and I'm going to weld it back in here in the center. One thing I'll mention is the easiest tool that I found that's kind of a common household tool is a soldering iron. If you don't have a soldering iron, you can pick one up. They can, Harbor Freight, there's many places that carry them. You can find them for starting at about $15 or $20. They also make plastic welders a little more expensive. You can find those at Harbor Freight, and then obviously the cost goes up from there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this piece back in where it goes here. Now, it's not going to be absolutely perfect. This probably broke years and years ago, and I'm just now getting to the point where I'm going to get in here and fix it. But I'm going to try and get this to fit to the best of my ability. And it is being a little bit difficult, but that's what's nice about the plastic welders. You can kind of manipulate it once it's hot to fit the way that you need it to. So I've got it in there for the most part how it needs to set. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my soldering iron. I'll start at the top here where we've got the piece that's the closest and fits the best. And I'm going to just kind of heat this up. And it's almost like it's very similar to welding. What I'm going to do is kind of bead this together. As I go through, I'm going to sink the soldering iron in and come back and forth with it all the way across. Now, as you can see, I've got an outside bead on that. And what I normally do is once that's real hot, I'll knock that bead back on in the inside. Now, as you can see, this whole thing is very hot right now. You may need to let that section cool, move on to another spot, and then move that back over so that you still have the strength there. I'm going to come on over to this center portion here and see if I can get that to fit there a little bit better. And we'll get that connected there. And it's connected. Now we'll let this cool for a minute, and we're going to come on over to the center or this far edge here. Something that does take a lot of practice to get good at. I may have to add some plastic here because it looks like some is missing. Keep in mind, this kind of stuff gets hot, so you might need to wear some gloves when you're doing this. I'm not, just because I'm not prepared, but something you definitely want to consider if you're going to be doing any plastic welding. Now, as you guys can see, this is cracked even all the way over here. This is a little bit thicker plastic, so I can show you a little bit better on how I typically do this. You can see I'm kind of kneading this together as I go through, making sure that I get both sides hot. Then you can come in later on and smooth it out once you've kind of got that plastic together nicely. I've got a crack on this one all the way down into this area, so I'm going to do this all the way through here. So on this one over here, as you can see, there's still a lot of plastic that's missing. So what I've got is a piece of a clip out of the car, and I'm going to use this. You can use zip ties, you can use other pieces of plastic. This is just something that I had handy. I'm going to use this, and I'm actually going to melt this piece of the plastic in here so that I can repair some of the places that are missing plastic. So for the most part, I've gotten this here to the way that I want it. Needs to have a little bit added and the sides kind of fixed up. But what I'm going to do is let this whole piece cool for just a minute. And I'm going to come over to this side and reattach what needs to be reattached here. This is the piece, just like you see, that came from this side. It's completely broken off, so I'm going to find exactly where it was located, which I can tell by just kind of looking here. You can tell where it was connected at, in the past. Make sure that you get, the best angle as possible. And I'm going to go ahead and do this repair. I'm going to start in the center here. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did on that other side. And I'm going to just kind of knead this back together here from the center. It's important not to go too fast, but also keep the needle moving. You don't want to melt all the way through it. But you want to heat it all up enough to where it bonds back together. That's going to be your main strategy here. As you get to the end, you can kind of let it sit for a second, and then I like to move all of this plastic back to the center to add strength back where that crack was. Now, this is not something that's going to, it's not going to look pretty, but you're going to get it pretty structurally strong back to the way it, should have been from the factory, or strong enough to where it's going to last you a few more years. So I'm going to start from this end, same thing, and I'm going to drag it to the center. Up here at the top, you can tell that it's been cracked too. It's also bowed out and been squished out, so what I'm going to do is heat this whole piece up here kind of in the center on the sides so that I can do my best to push this back down and fix that to the best of my ability. So as you can see, that repair is not beautiful, but it's something that's structurally strong and should last a good little time. I don't know if you can see, this has got the same stress crack that the other side does, so I'm going to run my soldering iron down that as well and fix it. Alright guys, what do you think of that? It's not going to be extremely strong, but it's going to be close to as strong as it was from the factory with those repairs there. If you want to get crazy with it, you can also add more plastic in there. But usually if I have enough plastic left over, what I'll do is try and use it just like that. Once that's been finished up on this side, I'm going to come back over to this far side and kind of just clean this up a little bit. There's going to need to be some material that needs to be moved around, kind of cleaned up and strengthened. But for the most part, this is a pretty solid repair here. What do you think of that? Not a bad solution to a broken, interior panels. This is not something that somebody's going to see, but it's a repair that, it's nice to have done. It's not going to be sitting up there rattling around now. We bought both sides attached. I may need to do a little bit of drilling on this side just to make sure that I've got enough clearance for the bolt, but that's a pretty solid repair. Guys, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or tips, comment down below. I'll do the best that I possibly can to answer any comments or questions that you guys have. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please comment, rate, subscribe, everything that all you lovely YouTubers love to do. Thanks guys, and have a great day.